My name is Tim, and I'm going to talk to you about approach anxiety. Approach anxiety is something that I think a lot of us as men struggle with, not even just with dating, like talking to a woman, but when it comes to taking action in our lives and saying, I'm going to go do this thing, I'm going to bring someone into my life, I'm going to create an amazing connection. Approach anxiety, it's this feeling of, I can't. It's this feeling of there's something that's bigger than me, something that's going on internally in my mind, in my head, that's preventing me from creating the kinds of relationships that I want to see in my life. And oftentimes this anxiety, as it's called, approach anxiety, starts from the beginning of the interaction. It starts from the beginning of the connection. So I want to share with you in this video how I beat approach anxiety in 3 months. Now, I want to be clear, beat approach anxiety doesn't mean that I never had anxiety again. It doesn't mean that I never second guessed myself. It doesn't mean that I was the most confident person in the world after this just 3 months. What it does mean though is that in 3 months, from this beginning point to the end point in 3 months, I was able to interact with women from a place of confidence, from a place of strength, and not letting my anxiety hold me back. And that's what really changed. Before these 3 months, I would interact with women and I would feel like I can't do this, and I would walk around a mall literally for 3 hours wanting to approach a few girls and not saying anything. Or I'd go out to Union Square in New York City and I would be there for 2 hours in the cold and see girls going here and there, and I just wouldn't say anything because of that fear. But me beating approach anxiety meant that that fear no longer controlled me, and I was able to attract women and approach women and make things happen in my social interactions without the fear of I can't do this or the fear of I might not be good enough. So in this video, I'm going to give you the 3 steps to beating approach anxiety, and these 3 steps are steps that you could actually use right now to change your life. And if you lock in on these steps, and if you focus on them, and if you apply them, like, don't just watch this just for the sake of it, I guarantee you that it is going to change your life. Let's go ahead and get into the training. Okay, so the first thing that we have to understand is that there are 2 kinds of approach anxiety. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of problem. It's not like everyone just has anxiety and it's the same thing. I've taught dating and relationships to very high-performing men for the last 6 years, and in my time coaching this, I've seen hundreds of guys go through our programs, go through my teaching, and there's always these 2 kinds of anxiety that come up. The first kind is what we call internal approach anxiety. And internal approach anxiety is based off of the question, am I good enough? This is a very interesting one. And a lot of times it's based on your sense of worth, your sense of ego, your sense of placement in the world. So if you have someone who generally has low self-esteem, where you feel like you're not good enough and you don't want to be shown that you're not good enough because that confirms the belief that just hurts you so much, a lot of times your anxiety is going to come from there. It's going to come from this place of, am I actually good enough? Because I might not be. And the reason you have anxiety is because you going up to a girl and getting rejected means something negative about your placement in the world, and it confirms you're not good enough. So what you want to do is you want to protect yourself from being exposed as not good enough, thus leading to approach anxiety. And the anxiety doesn't actually come because you're too scared to talk to the girl. It's not even about her, but it's about what would it mean about you if you were rejected. I need to look good, I need to be in the right situation, the right position to have my value as a person, and if I don't, something must be wrong. That's number 1. Number 2 is what we call external anxiety. So external approach anxiety is based off of this question: what will they think? What will they think about me? If I go up and approach this girl right now, what will other people think about me? A lot of times, people that are extroverts tend to have this kind of anxiety. I've seen guys that are introverts and guys that are extroverts have approach anxiety. It's all the same thing. Both people can have the same kind of anxiety. But the difference is that oftentimes introvert anxiety isn't always what will people think about me, but it's, am I good enough? Because if I interact with this person, what will it mean about me as an individual? Will I be good enough? Will I be social enough? Will I be attractive enough? Right? Whereas a lot of times for extroverts, the sense of anxiety comes from, what will other people around me think? And this was where my anxiety came from, because I struggled with anxiety so badly for years. And where it came from was, I felt like if I approached a girl in a park, or I went for a certain interaction, or I tried to create a certain dating situation, and the girl came back with a no, or she just wasn't feeling it, people would see me and my value would be compromised, because I always wanted to look cool. I always wanted to be the guy who had the right answers. I always wanted to be the guy who was witty, who socially fit in. And I felt like if people around me see this girl reject me and they see her give me a no, oh my goodness, my value is going to be compromised and I'm not going to be good enough. Okay, so the first thing you need to do if you want to beat approach anxiety is identify where your anxiety comes from. And by the way, you could have a little bit of both. You could be a little internal or a little external, but it really helps to identify the place that this anxiety is coming from. So the internal is, am I going to be okay? Am I good enough? Am I correct? Am I okay in this situation? And the external is, what is everyone else around me going to think? What we're going to do next is we're going to look at the exact 3 steps that you can use to beat approach anxiety. But before we get to those new steps, I need a favor from you. And this is a really important favor, so please listen. So I took about a year off of YouTube. I had uploaded a few videos, but I wasn't doing it consistently because I was building a marketing business, and then I was also coaching spirituality and mindset for women and men. And I took some time off of making my dating videos. But now, suddenly, because of a bunch of life changes, which I will explain in a future video, good life changes, I have this passion and this fury to make YouTube content again and to train people, to train men, high-performing men, in how to create amazing relationships. So I need 2 things from you. It's very simple and it's so easy to do. If this content that I've been sharing on YouTube means anything to you, what I need you to do is click the like button that's right under the video. Like, most people won't do it, but if you can feel like you could just help out a little bit, just press the button and like it. And if you're not logged into your account, then you can't do it. But if you are logged into your account, like the video, and then what I'd love you to do, this is an extra step, subscribe. Press the red subscribe button. Because I tell you, by you doing this, what we're going to do is pick up the momentum of this channel. We're going to pick up the momentum and energy in this channel, and who is seeing it, we're going to get the engagement going, and people are going to be able to join this movement that I'm about to create. We're about to create some really big things this year, the next year, and the year after. I have a 2-year plan, and we're going to create some amazing things, and people are going to be able to see what's going on. So I'd love if you could press the like button and go hit subscribe. It's right under the bottom of the video. It's so simple. Just press that button, and you can literally be a part of the information that I'm putting out and get notified of it every time I upload. It's going to be some really amazing stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the 3 steps to beating approach anxiety. So I already started with step number 1. I kind of gave you a preview, but step number 1 is recognize the anxiety. You have to recognize the anxiety for what it is. A lot of times, the reason why guys struggle to beat approach anxiety is because they don't actually know where it's coming from. Now, me as a men's consultant and men's coach, one of the things that I've learned how to do is identify problems very quickly and provide solutions to those problems in a record amount of times. So let's say that I see someone who can't be sexual with girls. He has good conversations, but for some reason he's not able to get sexual, and his interactions are just kind of failing and not turning out the way he wants them to be. Well, I'll be able to step in and I'll be able to see in seconds why he's not being sexual. I'll be able to see what the dynamic is, what the problems are that he's facing, and make changes. It's the same thing with approach anxiety. There's always a reason and a place it's coming from. Like we talked about, there's internal anxiety and then there's external anxiety. So what you need to do here is diagnose yourself and figure out where this anxiety is coming from. Is it coming from what will they think about me, which is external? You know, will my value socially be compromised because of what people will see? Will I be the weird guy out if I get rejected? Or is it coming from, I'm not good enough if this girl doesn't like me? Because if it's coming from one of those places, you're going to be able to address it more with a microscope and really pick and choose how you handle the problem. So identify where the anxiety is coming from. Now, what I want to do is give you the 2 ways that I personally beat it. And I'm going to give you 2 more methods, 2 steps that you can take to really solve it for yourself. But before I get to those, I want to share with you what I did to beat it. And it was 2 things that are super simple to understand and really easy to do. But I'm going to even go beyond that and give you 2 steps that are even more powerful than these things that I did. I didn't even have the tools that I'm giving you now. So when I was handling this was back in 2015 and 2016. When I was handling approach anxiety, actually, it was even a little bit before that, because at that time I had started to help other guys. So it was probably around 2013, 2014, when I really first started going out and saying, let me do a few approaches. I was in university at the time. So one of the things that I learned how to do was desensitize myself. I remember one of my buddies and I, shout out to Darren, my first wingman ever, the guy that I was going out with and approaching women with about 3 to 4 times a week in New York. And then we moved it to 5 times and 7 times. And then I kind of started going out all the time, and he focused more on career. Good for him. And, you know, I started pursuing this as a passion. One of the things that happened was, we had so much anxiety when it came to approaching. We would go around for like an hour sometimes not talking to anyone, just rationalizing our way out of talking to anyone. And we were some of the first guys that were going out to approach girls during the day in New York. So we were kind of a few of the little pioneers. There was a little dating community back then of a couple guys, like 20 guys who would go out and actually take action in New York and would try to meet girls. And we were part of that small community. And what would happen is a lot of these guys me and him would go out with wouldn't be able to approach. So one day we did this day of desensitizing. What we did was we spent 3 hours out and we said, today we're going to talk to 70 girls within 3 hours, which to be honest is pretty insane. And what's funny is we ended up talking to more than that. We ended up talking, I think we counted it was like 85 or something like that. And what we did was what we did is we purposely taught ourselves, we told ourselves this idea, we said, our goal is to actually get rejected. We don't care about the validation of making the interaction work. We don't care about getting the right response all the time. What we're going to do is sit here and accept the idea that we could be rejected. We went in with this mindset, and here's what happened was, we literally desensitized ourselves in 3 hours to the idea of approaching women. Now, long term, this is not healthy to do. You don't want to be interacting with women from a place of approaching all of them, consistently saying hi to a bunch of different girls. That doesn't help you and it doesn't serve you. But in that moment, what we needed was to be desensitized. So we literally interacted with so many women in such a short period of time, and we had anxiety. We were so scared. We would go up and say, hey, hi, nice to meet you. I love your vibe. And we'd walk away. We'd say, hey, I thought you were my type. I wanted to say hi. We'd walk away. We probably weren't even saying that exact line at the time, because this is something kind of that I teach now, but whatever it was I was saying back then, like, hey, where are you from? Something like that. We did this to literally, I think about 40, 50 girls each, or maybe more in the span of 3 hours. And we completely desensitized ourselves to this energy of I have to go up and speak to someone. So we didn't care as much. Now, the reason why it's not good long term is because you do want to care. There has to be an element of, when I'm interacting with women now, whether it's like I'm interacting with someone with my wife, or I'm doing it solo, just going out and practicing social skills, I feel an element of anxiety still, but I want to feel that because it means I care. Some guys I know will come out and they'll come on my programs, or a lot of times I work with other dating coaches and I mentor them in their relationships or their ability to connect with women so they can get to the next level. And a lot of times what these guys will do is they'll be so fearless, they can just talk to anyone, but they don't even care about the interaction itself. So they'll come across maybe as a bit sociopathic, a bit narcissistic, and girls really don't like that. It just is not an attractive thing to do. Sometimes it can be, but it can go too far and you won't have healthy relationships. There'll be a lot of limitations to that, okay? So what happens is, I desensitized myself, and I did it in that parameter, in that time span, and I've never done this again, by the way. I only did this one time in my life. We went out in Union Square in Washington Square in New York, and we approached like 60 to 80 girls in the span of 3 hours. And it was crazy, and we talked to these girls, and afterwards we felt completely numb. It was insane. Okay, and number 2 is getting momentum. So one of the things that will always help you, and this is how I got rid of my approach anxiety, is I started living my life in momentum. I do the same thing in my business. What does momentum mean? What does momentum mean? It's a trajectory where you're moving forward at all times, and you follow that trajectory on an upward spiral. So here's how a lot of people do things. It's like I put in a bunch of work, I stop, and I get burned out. And then I stop, take a break, a long break, and then I have to get back to where I was a few months ago or back in the day. Whereas the way that I run my business, the way that I run my dating life, my social life, even now how I do the gym, is what I'll say is, what's the least thing that I could do today to move the needle forward? So I'll give an example with fitness. Right now, I'm working on getting like bigger and getting bigger in size. Like working on these arms, so I'm not so skinny. I've been skinny all my life, and I was tired of it, so I said, fuck it, let me go to the gym and get strong. Okay, here's what happens. There's times where I don't feel like going to the gym. There's weeks where maybe I'm slightly under the weather. Maybe I've been working a lot of the business, trying to figure out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to, keep earning. Maybe I'm doing some dating stuff. Maybe me and my wife have a lot of plans and it's just a busy week, or I have travel coming up. This actually happened just now in New York. So I went back to New York and I ran a live coaching program. And I was exhausted. But what I thought was, what's the not even 1%, but like the 5% thing that I can do to continue the momentum? The worst thing you can do is just completely stop the action. You never want to completely stop. Even if you hesitate, even if you don't feel perfectly good enough, what you don't want to do is completely stop. So what I did was, I went to the gym and I did 2 exercises. Because I wanted to tell my brain that I don't want to lose momentum and I don't want to give up because of how I feel. So that's the problem with anxiety, where a lot of guys mess up. So the first thing I said about desensitizing is how I overcame the feeling and became numb. But then how did I keep it going? Because you can go back into this paradigm in the spiral of anxiety. What did I do? I reinforced in my brain that the only thing that matters is momentum. So whenever I went outside of my house, I made a priority to talk to a new person. So I was always in momentum, similar to the gym. I say, even if I don't feel good this week, I'm still gonna go to the gym and even do one exercise. Just pump even like 3 or 4 sets if I don't feel good. This happened to me many times. This is how I've maintained the gains where I'm at right now. I have to keep eating more, keep growing, but this is how I maintained them. What I would do is, even if I wasn't feeling good in my business, I'd still say, and now I've been on a great trajectory recently, I have had no breaks, but earlier in the year I was feeling pretty bad and I was like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to work out. But what I would do is, even if I wasn't feeling good, if I was a bit under the weather, I would still go to the gym and I would just do 2 exercises at very light weight. And just me being in the gym, like being in there, contributes to the momentum. Do you see how this plays out? So it's the same thing in dating. Are you creating momentum? Momentum is a solution. When we do our programs and I have a client who's in his head, who feels anxiety, who isn't sure, who kind of doesn't know what's going on energetically, or like, and he's kind of feels like things are getting too much for him and he's getting a lot of approach anxiety, what I'll do is I'll say, hey man, just say hi to that girl and get rejected. Just be like, I love where you're from, and then walk away. You take it on yourself to walk away. So because he's in a state of momentum, his anxiety will not overcome him. His anxiety won't own him. So state of momentum is how I do this, desensitizing and momentum. Let's talk about how you can actually grow going forward and the steps you can take that are really easy to do right now to help you beat and transcend approach anxiety. Okay, so step number 2 in this journey is what we call commitment and decision. Super powerful. So step number 1 is know the anxiety. Know yourself. Recognize the type of anxiety. Step number 2, commitment and decision. What does this mean? Commitment and decision basically means that you have to will yourself that I am more than my approach anxiety. I am more than my not feeling good enough. I'm more than not knowing if this woman is attracted to me or not. That's what it is. It's saying that I'm going to interact with the world from a place of I choose to take action. I choose to take action. I'm going to put action in my hands. I'm going to create momentum. I'm going to desensitize myself, and I'm going to grow. So it's like the gym again. I choose during the week that I will leave this house that I'm in right now, my apartment. I'm going to leave it and I will go to the gym. I'm going to pick up and I'm going to go, right? It's commitment and decision. It's an active decision you make. So I want you to think about this. If you're struggling with approach anxiety right now, if you know that you should be out socializing, meeting a few girls, having some good interactions, and in your head you're like, okay, one day I'm going to do this, or I'm going to handle it today. Are you actually making a commitment that you will not leave the social venue without saying hi to 3 different girls? Are you actually making a commitment that you're going to go out to the local park or the local social kind of daytime area, the mall area, and you won't leave without saying hi to 3 attractive women and even giving them a compliment? How are you doing this? What's the commitment and the decision you're making? So commitment and decision are some of the most important factors when it comes to beating approach anxiety, because it's not just like saying, okay, I'm going to go take action today, but are you actually making a commitment against the anxiety, saying that even through the anxiety, even while I'm struggling with it, I'm still going to take the action. Those are 2 different things. They're not one and the same. And then number 3, step 3 is positivity. Okay, so we have step 1, which is recognize the anxiety for what it is. Step number 2, commitment and decision. And then number 3 is positivity. This is how you keep it going. So once you have those first couple of wins, here's how the journey looks, by the way. 1, you're going to start off massive anxiety, not knowing what you want to do, not knowing who you are, feeling kind of fearful, afraid, like what the fuck am I doing out here? Why am I trying to meet girls? All this stuff. You're going to feel this. I've been through it. Every client I worked with has been through this. Okay. And then what's going to happen is you're going to make the commitment and decision of I'm going to surpass this. I'm going to create momentum in my life, and I'm going to desensitize myself to saying hi. And then you're going to go out and you're going to say hi to whatever, 5 girls in a night. You're going to say hi to 10 girls, and you're going to desensitize yourself to the fear. What's step number 3? Positivity. Because here's what happens with a lot of guys. They'll do the first 2 steps. They'll overcome the initial anxiety, the initial shock. They'll desensitize themselves. They'll start to get a bit of momentum. But then what they'll do is they'll go into a negative spiral because the results are not going to be exactly what they want. And they're kind of like, oh, it doesn't feel as good as I want. Oh, I want to have the exact specific result. I want women to chase me. I want women to love me. But I don't have it right now. It's like this pain. It kind of like me with working out. I didn't see gains the first couple of weeks that I was in the gym. It took me a while to actually start seeing some changes. Even now, I'm not progressing as fast as I want. I want to just be there, but I've hired a trainer and working together and we're crushing it now. But so think about this. Commitment and decision goes next to positivity. So where's the positivity? The positivity comes in recognizing the small wins. Here's what I'm doing at the gym. Whenever I work out and I come home, I always admire my body and I say, yes, I love how I look. And I reinforce this workout was amazing. I'm serious, guys. Like even when I flex on camera, if you notice, I don't know, in a couple of my videos recently, I do this in a lot of my videos. I go like this and I do a little flex, even though my arms are not massive, but they're bigger than where they were before. So why am I doing this on camera? Because I'm making a public recognition that I'm actually putting the work in the gym to get in shape, to get strong, and I'm proud of myself and I accept it. So I loudly proclaim this on camera for the masses because of positivity. Because you know what happens if I don't do that? Do you know what I'll do if I don't fucking do that? I'm gonna lose momentum. If I don't flex on camera or wear shirts that show my arms and proudly say I'm getting stronger, if I don't do that, here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna feel like I'm getting nowhere. And then the old mindsets of, oh, do I really want to do this today? What's the point? What's the purpose? That old mindset is gonna come back to me. It's gonna come back and I'm gonna lose the momentum. I won't be desensitized anymore. I'll have to go back down the pathway of the different steps, figuring out where this is coming from, understanding myself, then committing and saying, no, back to the gym again, making decisions again, and then I'm gonna have to start again, and then positivity, right? So here's the process. It's understand the anxiety. Where is it? Is it internal or external? Number 2, commitment and decision. I'm going to handle the anxiety, not just take the action. It's not enough to say, I'm gonna go out today. I'm gonna go socialize. I'm gonna meet 5 girls today. I'm gonna go talk to 3 girls in the park today. That isn't enough. There has to be commitment. One of the ways to make this commitment, by the way, is financially, by investing in consulting and coaching, which is, what I provide, what I do. That's one. Or another version of this is to have accountability with a close friend who's also on the same journey as you. Can say, hey, I expect this out of you. I'm part of 2 business masterminds, and they hold me massively accountable to my goals and to taking action. There's that. But then another way to do it is also simply by making a decision within yourself. Some people are not able to do this. I can be this way, not always, but sometimes if it's the right time, right moment, I will be able to be very intrinsically motivated. It's making a decision within yourself and saying, I'm going to take the action, but not just take the action. I'm going to handle the fear. I'm going to be consistent. I did this with my workout journey. With my business journey, I hired a mentor. I paid close to $20,000 literally for 1 year of coaching. It was extremely valuable, and we increased our revenue by about 25%. And that was one of the most valuable things I ever did. So that was my version of commitment there. It was, I'm going to invest a large amount of money, tap into my savings, give what I have, and in exchange, I'm going to hope that we'll increase our revenue. And we did. And with the gym, for me, I didn't need any kind of outside accountability. Instead, I did that myself. I committed myself. But then it was positivity. That's number 3, the positivity. It's reinforcing, I'm happy this is happening. And with dating, what can you do there? Because I talked about it with fitness, but with dating, what does it look like? When good things happen, living the little things, that was awesome. That was awesome. Share it with a friend of yours. Share it with someone who's going out with you. Talk about positive dating wins. Be grateful. Be like, dude, the girls I'm meeting are just so amazing. Hey man, I had such a great time out last night. Hey man, that festival when I talked to those 4 girls was freaking amazing and I really loved it. That's where the power's coming from. It's really powerful when you interact with the world this way. Positivity. It fuels the momentum. It keeps it going. You don't want to be positive just for the sake of being positive. Like, oh, I'm going to be positive because some lifestyle guru on the internet told me to. Fuck that. It's stupid. I'm not telling you to be positive because it feels nice. By the way, I'm all about positivity, manifestation, spiritual work. I study Zen Buddhism. I love this stuff. But I'm telling you, positivity isn't just for the sake of being positive. It's actually an asset and a tool. I use positivity to get what the fuck I want in my life. And I want you to do the same thing, okay? I'm gonna leave you there. If you have made it to the end of the video, right now, the only way that you can help me, and if you want to give me back for throwing this shit on you and helping you grow and beat anxiety, subscribe and press the like button. I'm telling you, 1, it's gonna help me, and I'm fucking awesome, and I want you to help me because I'm great and I want to help you, so we'll help each other. And number 2, it's gonna change your life because there's so much amazing stuff I'm gonna be putting here. It's literally like a free program. Like, it's free fucking coaching. So you're gonna get this from me, and I will not stop. We're going super hard this year. We have tons of videos queued up. I'm super excited to serve you and to see you grow. I'm gonna leave you there. Press that red button to subscribe, press the like button, give me a comment as well, and I respond to all of them. I do comment coaching too. I love you and I'm supporting you. I will see you on the next training. I'm gonna get out of here and I'm gonna get back to work. Be blessed today.